live. So, all right, let's get started. So, 1, 5, 2022. Our objective is we want to solve right triangles using trigonometry. Okay, so Luke, I'm going to make it really easy for you, okay? So I got a little star, and the star says always start at the angle. Always start at the angle, okay? And I'm gonna circle that and highlight, because if you start at the angle, which is our 65 degrees, right? Then the way I like to teach is this. This is a lake. It's a weird shaped lake, but it's a lake, okay? It's a triangular lake, right? If you're standing here and I said throw a rock to the opposite side, you throw it there. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? You with me, Luke?
Yeah.
So, I mean, if this is a lake, and I say throw it to the opposite side, you throw it over there, correct? That's my opposite side. So, but if I were up here at this angle, it changes it, doesn't it? If I was at this angle, that'd be my opposite side. But I'm right here. This is where my angle is. So this is my opposite side. My 14 is my hypotenuse. And that means that this side's got to be my adjacent, because it's next to me. Adjacent means next to, okay? This is my adjacent side, okay? Next to the angle. So always start at the angle. It's right next to the angle, okay? Adjacent.
Will there always be that angle into the adjacent?
Sometimes. Good question. So, now, by the way, Emily, we never use 90, okay? Never, ever, ever use 90. But if I was up here, it changes things around a little bit, doesn't it? If I knew this angle, then that's my opposite. And that would be my adjacent, because it's next to me, okay? Good question. But I'm not. I'm actually right here, correct? Okay. So, now, let's see what we have. I know my 14, and it's my choice. It's my choice. Yes, Luke?
Just one of I did right.
So, here we go. It's my choice. I can either find the adjacent side or the opposite side. Luke chose for us. Doesn't really matter. Find one or the other. But Luke, you chose the adjacent side because you used cosine, didn't you?
Yep.
So Luke chose the adjacent side. You can choose either one, but he wanted to choose this one. Doesn't matter? Doesn't matter. So we've got to find everything. So Luke, I'm going to ask you a question.
Say what?
Do you want to solve for the adjacent side or the opposite side? Doesn't matter. Yes, you did. So the adjacent side it is. So we don't care about the opposite yet. So if I have the hypotenuse and the adjacent, I look up on the board and I'm looking for the one that has adjacent hypotenuse. Cosine. So I'm going to write that down. Cosine theta equals my adjacent over my hypotenuse. Some kids will ask me, Mr. Davies, they'll say, Mr. Davies, how do you know which number goes on where? Some kids say, how do you know what goes where? Well, the formula tells you. The adjacent goes on top, right? So we'll put little t there, we'll put our 14 there. Does that make sense? So we're going to call this little t because it's opposite. So this is side T, this is side A, okay? So, cosine of, what's theta? What's theta? 65, it's the angle. The adjacent, which we want to find, is T, and the hypotenuse is 14. How are we doing? Now, Emily, how do we solve?
You gotta, you multiply.
Multiply by 14, everybody agree? Thanks, Emily. I pick on Emily because she knows the answer, right, Emily?
Yeah.
So you have 14 times the cosine of 65 equals t, and I just used my calculator. I'm going to go 14 cosine 65, boom, 5.9. So then I ask myself, does my answer make sense? Could that be 5.9? Sure. Yes. I think 5.9 seems right. If this is 14, 5.9, yeah, I'm okay with that, right? Now, we also have to find side A. How do you find side A? Well, we could switch things around. So now, we could use the opposite in the hypotenuse, right? Right, if I want to find side A, opposite hypotenuse, how about sine, okay? Everybody agree it's sine? So sine of theta, opposite for hypotenuse. So we'll go, not theta, because theta is my angle, which is, so I'm going to go sine 65 equals my opposite, which is little a, over my hypotenuse is 14. Okay, how do you solve? How do you solve? Multiply, good, multiply. Multiply. Sounds right, nice job, Jacob. 14 sine 65, about 12.68 or 69, around 12.7. How's that sound? 12.7. So little a equals 12.7. Now, we got one more thing to do, and that's angle T. I almost got it, okay? So I have this side, I know this side, I know this side, but I don't know angle T. That's the easy solve, because what we learned yesterday is this. Watch. These two angles always add up to 90. I'll say it again. These two angles always make 90. Kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Right? So we just go 90 minus 65, right? Right? Now we get that angle, right? Just 90 minus 65, it's the same way, right? So we'll go angle T is equal to 90 degrees minus 65 degrees. What's that, 25? Okay, thumbs up. So what do you think? I want to see right now, and be honest with me, because I don't know. Are you here? Are you here? Or are you down in the dumps? We see. Okay, so I was okay. That's why we're practicing. You're here, right? You're maybe there. Okay, good. All right, good, good. Okay, let's turn page. Juana, in. Okay. So now, write this down. Write this down. Star, highlight. To find an angle, you want to use sine inverse or cosine inverse or tangent inverse. Okay? Write that down. To find an angle, you want to use, write that down, Luke.
The blue button.
The blue button, which is there, see it? There, or there. Now, which one do you use? It depends on our ratios, right? Depends on ratios. So, to get these blue buttons, you got to push the blue button, right? So you got to push this and that, or this and that, this and that. Okay, does that make sense? So if you want to find an angle, you have to use these buttons. Okay, so let's see how it works. So if I take a look at angle PIG, so, all right, let's see. Leslie,
Yes.
you get to choose. How's that?
What?
Do you want to find angle I? It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You already know this one, right? You already know this. Do you want to find angle I or angle G? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I or G. That's fine.
Let's do G.
G it is. Okay. Let's do G. Okay. So go and I'm going to do angle G. That's my theta, right? That's my angle. And for just a second, I'll flip the page, but I'll bring it back, okay? What's that say? What's that say?
Always start.
At the angle, right? So I'm going to start right here, okay? Leslie, that's one you picked, right? So then what is the name of this side? What's the name of this side? Opposite. You guys agree? That's my opposite. What's the name of the 9? Good. Well, the two words I'm using is opposite hypotenuse, so which of those three ratios are we going to use? Sine. So I got sine theta equals my opposite over hypotenuse, right? Or I'm going to go sine of g, because that's my angle, right? Sine of g equals 4 over 9, right? Now what button do I have to push? What button do I have to push? So I'm going to do this. I'm going to go sine inverse of 4 over 9 will equal angle G. Okay, so my calculator. Second, do it. Everyone make sure everyone can do this. Blue, sine inverse. You got to have that. Of 4 divided by 9. Okay. Now, 26.4 degrees. Yeah, that sounds reasonable for an angle, right? 26 degrees. Yeah, that sounds all right. 26.4 degrees. Okay. So my angle G is about 26.4 degrees. Right? Now, we're almost done with this. I can find angle I, can't I? How do you know? How do you find I? We know about these two angles. They're 90, right? So we just go 90 minus 24.6, right? Let's do that. So I'm going to go, all right, I'm going to go to find angle I. Angle I is equal to 90 degrees minus 26.4 degrees. I don't know. So calculus are made for, right? 90 minus 63.6. So angle I is equal to 63.6 degrees. Okay, good. Got one last thing to find, and it's your choice. I'm going to do it the easiest way, okay? But it's your choice. This side, blue line. I'm going to use Pythagoras theorem. I'm going to go a squared plus b squared equals c squared. I think that's the easiest. Or you could use sine, or you could use cosine. You can use tangent to find it, but I'm just going to use a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Easiest way to do it. You guys okay with that? So to find
Staff
third side.
This ends the soft lockdown. Thank you very much.
Okay, hold on. Third side. No, we're going to stay here anyway. I'm just going to go. Now this is side I, because we label our sides. We label our sides by the angles, right? Angle I, little I. So we're going to go I squared plus 4 squared equals 9 squared, right? Pythagoras theorem, you guys remember that? Hopefully you know that. You learned it in middle school, I hope. So I'm going to go do the math. I squared plus 16 equals 81, right? I'm just going to do the math. Minus 16, minus 16. I get 65. I'm going to take the square root. I'll use my calculator to take the square root of 65 and about 8.06. All right? Now, homework. And we got plenty of time. We got a half hour. We got enough time to get it done.